Revenge films.
I'm Ray. I have a corporate job and live alone. I got married at 24 and lived with my wife Nancy until I was 29, when she died in a car accident. Who would have thought that I would become a widower at such a young age? But I just had to go on with my life with a big hole in my heart. Nancy and I were close, but shortly before she passed, there were some strange episodes between us. She started pushing alcohol drinks onto me. She suggested I go out for drinks with my friend, and she even gave me more allowance. And other times when I was drinking at home, she encouraged me to drink the ones that were higher in alcohol content. Apparently, she was trying to get me drunk. I can tolerate alcohol well, and I never really got drunk, though. But before I got a chance to ask her the reasons why, she passed away, and it's been hanging in my mind since. One day, I got a call from a lawyer. When I answered the phone, he was straight to the point. "You are having an affair, aren't you? My client is asking for compensation from you." I had no clue what he was talking about. I carefully said, "That can't be true." "We have evidence. There's no use making excuses." So he said. I told him that I wanted to see the evidence, and he set up a meeting for us in a cafe. Nancy is gone, and I had no idea what was going on, but I was very curious and wanted to talk to this lawyer. As I entered the cafe, the man with a name tag greeted me. "You must be Ray." He didn't waste any time. According to the lawyer, about a week ago, a man came into his office and claimed I was having an affair, and he demanded compensation from me. He said he was a friend of Nancy, and she consulted him about my having an affair. She didn't have the money and courage to talk to a lawyer, so he came to see the lawyer as a client on her behalf. At that point, I said, "That can't be true. Nancy passed away 6 months ago." The lawyer looked confused for a moment and continued. "You just made that up, didn't you?" He didn't believe me. "Here's the evidence." He opened the envelope and took a photo to show me. It surely showed me and somebody else other than Nancy sleeping in the same bed. I didn't know what to think, but with a closer look, I found a mole on my neck. That convinced me the photo was fake. I showed my neck to him, and he looked at me and the photo back and forth, and he was convinced as well. "It's vicious to create such a photo and try to defraud people for money." And he suggested that the 3 of us meet. I was curious why the man was trying to scam me and asked the lawyer to arrange the meeting as early as possible. He contacted the man and set up a meeting for us 3 days later. I was anxious about this meeting. When I got to the meeting place, there was a man I had never seen before sitting next to the lawyer. Why was this man suing me? I didn't have the slightest idea, and that was a creepy feeling. The lawyer and I talked beforehand and agreed to conceal the fact that Nancy had passed in order to find out his client's intention. I asked him what this was about, and he said he was a friend of Nancy, just like the lawyer told me, and he continued. "She's suffering and mentally unstable because of your affair. She can't even talk to a lawyer by herself. You're a terrible man. I can't stand you as her friend." He was angry. Then the lawyer said, "This photo is CGI, which cannot be evidence. Do you have anything else to prove your story?" The man said, "It's not CGI. What's gotten into you now?" He seemed nervous. I said, "This photo must be created by Nancy. Only she could take a picture of me sleeping." Then the man didn't say anything. "You have to tell the truth." The lawyer repeatedly said this during the meeting, but the man wouldn't say otherwise. so I suggested we go to my house to confront him with the truth. When we got to my home, I showed him straight to Nancy's portrait and the urn, and he lost his word. I could tell he didn't know about this at all. She passed away 6 months ago from a car accident. Is she mentally unstable from my having an affair? Who on earth are you mistaking me for? And he knelt on the floor and cried like a baby. After a while, he came to his senses and started telling the truth. Before she passed, she was having an affair with this man. She made this fake photo to divorce me. She was going to trap me and demand compensation from me to divorce and be with this man. That's why she was trying to get me drunk on multiple occasions to back up her theory. If I said I had no recollection of going out, that was when I came home heavily drunk enough to lose memory for the entire night. She kept getting me drunk to make her plan work and testify that I was an alcoholic. It would take some time to make the story believable. If their affair was found out, their plan would go down the drain, so they decided not to see each other for 6 months. The man believed in Nancy and waited for her while saving up to get married to her, but she didn't reply at all no matter how many times he contacted her. He couldn't believe it, and he tried to ambush her in front of her work, which ended in vain. He was anxious, confused, and desperate. He concluded that he was the one who was deceived and dumped, and Nancy got back with me, and our life went on. He couldn't bear the thought and decided to take revenge on her. Then he knocked on the door of the lawyer's office with the fake evidence photo. He stuck to the original plan of divorcing us. Now that he knows the truth, he was overcome with grief and completely worn out. But that wasn't my concern. He had an affair with Nancy knowing she was married to me, then planned to deceive me to marry her. How could I forgive such a man? I told him while he was still crying before Nancy's photo, "I'm going to ask you to leave now. You will hear about the compensation later." And he said, "Compensation? What are you talking about?" And panicked. I asked the lawyer, "Can you take my case?" "Of course, thank you," he agreed. And the man said, "Hey, wait a minute. Can one demand compensation for having an affair with a deceased person?" Now he's more realistic. "Yes, they can. I'll walk you through it in a few days." "I can't believe it. This can't happen. Why is that, Nancy? Why?" he shouted emotionally. At that point, I threw him out and talked to the lawyer. He was sympathetic to me and acted fast. As a result, the man was charged for compensation sooner than I thought. Later, I learned that the man had a wife and a child, but divorced her to be with Nancy. On his divorce, his affair with Nancy became open, and he was also charged for compensation from his ex-wife. Now he seems to have lost all of his money. After he learned about Nancy's death, he became depressed. He couldn't continue his work and lost his job. Now he's used up all the money he had and ended up losing his family, his lover, and all the assets. He's seeing a psychologist and borrowed money from consumer finance to get by. As for me, I haven't been able to get over her until now. But now that I've learned about her cheating and all her plans, I finally got over her. I don't miss her at all, and I'm ready for my next chapter with the possibility of remarrying. I can't forgive her betrayal, but I would rather find that out than not knowing any of it. I can finally move on. My sympathetic friends often arrange meetups for me. I hope I'll meet someone special one day.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.